This is the Frat House Sports Show. And now, for this week's completely different and often humorous take on everything sports, here are Frat House Mike, Uncle Mark, and Sidekick.
Welcome back to our annual Man, Do We Need Some Real Sports Right About Now show, huh? Really, seriously. Gentlemen, I have never felt so empty in a week as I have this past week.
Oh, good for you.
Do we need football season right about now or what? I mean, look, did anybody else notice? I don't know. I did. This All-Star break for Major League Baseball was extraordinarily long. Normally it's 3 days. This year it's 4. Huh? What? So we've had no baseball all week. The last real sports we saw... Yeah, stop that. The last real sports we saw was something called football on Sunday, which we're going to talk about. Honestly, I mean, it's really bad when your sports offerings on a particular evening are the ESPYs. Seriously, let's do something about this. America, get your act together. We need something.
I was going to say, we've got Tour de France going on every day during the day. So, you know.
Like I said, America, get your act together. Okay. Somehow or another, we'll get through this show. I promise you. And we do have a little bit of sports to talk about, amazingly, with that vacuum that I'm not, you know, I should just start it right now. Thanks very much for joining us. See you next week. No, we do have some sports to cover, and we will do that.
And there's no race this weekend.
You had to go and throw a fuel on the fire.
Who does that? Who has time?
All right, let's get to our top stories, if there are any in sports this week. How could there possibly... No, there were a couple, actually. We insinuated it last week at this time right here on the show. Lot of chat, a lot of speculation at that particular moment about where LeBron James was heading. And as it turned out, we thought perhaps maybe the announcement might have come down during last week's Thursday night show. It didn't. You had advised us, oh, no, it looks like it's going to be, well, you might hear something tomorrow. And in fact, that's exactly the way it went. On Friday, just about lunchtime or so, well, the internet went Twitter. Oh, you see how I tied that together? With all the news about LeBron James coming out with his personal essayed message utilizing, Sports Illustrated of all things, to provide us his rather sappy and mournful and somewhat reminiscent eulogy of how he couldn't wait to go back to Northeast Ohio. Do we have violins to bring up or something? I'm not sure.
I was thinking...
Any of this getting through to you, son?
Oh, boy. And he's returning to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Now, well, how cavalier of him.
Yeah,
Ha-ha, touche! Touche! Good sir.
Oh, man, do we need sports right about...
Oh, let the joke
when we're finding that amusing,
a little stir crazy up in here right about now.
You're not kidding. Now, I think I might have insinuated it last week. I think I insinuated it last week. I might have even said it. I'm going to say it again. I got to be honest, I was a little bit surprised, considering how all things ended with LeBron James 4 years ago with Cleveland. I got to be honest, I was a little bit surprised that he made the decision to head back that way with the owner and what have you, and all the way things were left.
And then all the bandwagon fans
were
like, hey, welcome back to Cleveland,
I'll be whatever you want me to be.
Yeah,
like I said.
You're right.
You know, that turnaround's only second to your NHL turnaround.
Man.
You know, I'm not going to get into all that.
Exactly.
Wasn't there he wore number 6 down in...
Correct. Yeah, that's his old...
Wear 23 again?
Well, I don't know. We haven't heard. That's.
You got to think from a marketing point of view. If he goes to a different number, then everybody got to go buy new jerseys anyway. If they didn't.
Well, they all burned them anyway. So.
Well, exactly. Right. There you go.
They're gonna have to go. You know. I mean, come on. They already sold out all the season tickets.
Well, exactly. Well, I had the meme up. Google what was going on in Cleveland.
Yeah.
How do you unburn a LeBron jersey?
Yeah.
That's what everybody in Cleveland was was Googling that afternoon, last Friday afternoon, how do you unburn a LeBron jersey? But, you know, it was interesting to me because almost as soon as the announcement came out, suddenly all the questions came up from the talking heads and non-talking heads out there about what his motives were. What were the motives? Those saying, you know, how could LeBron go back to such a loser town like Cleveland? And others questioning what James was really thinking. I mean, yeah, all right, since he left, the Cavaliers have put together, they've got a couple of young pieces that he's got there, but the general thinking is, you know, is he going to be taking them to a championship like right away? That's probably a bit of a stretch, although right now the East is still weak, so who knows? I mean, in Vegas, they jumped.
I did see a stat that when LeBron was in Cleveland, they had the best record every year. And as soon as LeBron left, they were the worst team.
Yeah, but that last year that he was there was nothing there. It was all LeBron. He carried them on it. It wasn't dissimilar to what LeBron went through this final year in Miami. It was very, very similar, in fact, to what, I mean, the two seasons are almost identical in many respects.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Maybe there is a soft spot in LeBron's heart for Cleveland. And he left Cleveland because he wanted to win championships. Mm-hmm. He went to Miami, got his super team, won his championships, and maybe he's like, okay, I've got the championships that I was looking for. I can now go back to Cleveland and play for Cleveland, knowing, you know, for my career, I've got my championships. I'm okay with being in Cleveland now.
Okay, well, you're kind of jumping.
I still want more championships. Don't get me wrong. That ego's there.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But the pressure's off. Like now he can feel, you know, now if he maybe doesn't win another championship, he knows that his legacy, you know, was I've got 3 championships or whatever it was that he's got. Two that he got in Miami. And, you know, he can live, you know, he can play out the rest of his career in Cleveland.
Yeah, and interesting because you're kind of jumping ahead to the next issue that that was brought up by some, and that was, you know, along with the, how can you go back to a loser town and that sort of thing, was those that, you know, and there were all those haters out there, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't like the way he left necessarily Cleveland last time. All the brouhaha and the decision show and all that crap that went down with it. It kind of left a bad taste in my mouth a little bit because it smacked the egotism. But now the haters, those that are remaining, come out and go, oh, well, see that? He's just jumping. He's a team hopper. He just wants to go from one team to another and just build championships. That's all he wants to do. He doesn't have the guts to hang in there with a tough team when things get really bad. So I guess that's kind of where I throw it out there to everybody here, you know, on the panel. What's the thinking? Me, from where I come from, I kind of read it the way you do, Sidekick. I'm looking at it and going, hey, if the guy wants to go back to Cleveland, if that's really, albeit the essay was a bit suck-up-ish. I mean, it really was, you know.
But at least it wasn't the announcement show.
He didn't write it. We know that.
And to be honest, you know, to give him possibly just a little bit of an out, you know, that whole him going to Miami may have just been celebrity clouding his thinking. You know what I mean? Like he got a little bit caught up in himself, and because he admits that it was a mistake. He shouldn't have done it, and maybe he's grown some now, and he's learned that, hey, yeah, that probably wasn't the best thing to do.
We have heard there is a bit of a rivalry, and there has been vocally between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. That has bubbled up and erupted on a couple of occasions. And I think you're being polite to him in some respects for saying, okay, maybe he's grown up a little bit, maybe it's not as much ego involved. You know, I think the guy wants his legacy to be better than Jordan's.
Oh, sure. I don't doubt
it. To do that, he's got to win a boatload of titles yet before he's done.
Yeah.
Uncle Mark, what's your reading on the motivation? Anything here?
He described it as his 4 years in college. I think that's probably about the most accurate thing that came out of that fluff piece that was put up there, I'm Coming Home. I'm about cried out of my tissues. I'm so overwhelmed by his coming back. Let's be honest about one thing for sure about LeBron. LeBron wants to win again. Doesn't matter. It's going to be in Cleveland. And the 4 years that he wasn't there was the 4 years that franchise struggled to rebuild without him. And now he comes in riding a white horse, and there's some guessing to be done about who his players are going to be around him. But if that team suddenly turns it all around this year, a lot of that has to do with 4 years of building that man was never part of.
Good point. Good point. Now,
Well, but you could argue the flip side. If all of a sudden next year they're back with the winning record, or they're back with the best record in the NBA, one could also argue it's LeBron.
Yeah, but Mark's right. He left the franchise in such a bad case. They had high draft pick after high draft pick.
Oh yeah.
That they would not. If they were the best record in the league team that they were prior, it wouldn't have mattered. So LeBron really left them in there. And now he is coming back riding the white horse.
oh, I agree with that. I
totally
think
is.
that imagery is right on.
That's perfect.
Now, it's been talked about, excuse me, going back to the end of last week when all the rumors were that this is where he was heading back. And now apparently it got a little more traction again today that in fact Cleveland is and has come down a bit and says, yeah, we might entertain trading the number 1 draft pick in this year's draft, Andrew Wiggins, to get Kevin Love. Now, that's been the guy that LeBron has said, get him over here into this mix, and guess what? We're going to win championships. And that's why, in some respects, I come back to going, okay, we can wax all the Northeast Ohio nostalgia we want. It really does kind of smack of, hey, let's go buy some more championships. I mean, there is a little bit of a disgusting kind of reverse Steinbrenner motive going on here, where it's not the owner, but it's a guy that's in control. Look, let's take a look at what LeBron James did to the NBA for about a week. He held up business throughout the entire freaking league for an entire week. Nobody could make a move anywhere because everybody was sitting back waiting on him. Don't make no mistake, this guy is ego-driven.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right. Now, conditions of this year, which I find rather interesting too. Albeit, I think that there might be some math involved in this one. Conditions on the deal for this first year. It's a 2-year contract. The Cavaliers have got him secured for 1 year only with a second-year option. All right. Now keep that in mind. He'll collect $20.6 million in the 2014-15 season, which is still below where he could probably command somewhere else or even be getting on a maximum deal. And we could be right back to free agency all over again next year at this time. Because if he opts out, guess what? He's a free agent. So, what do we make of that one?
What we got here
3
is a failure to communicate.
Maybe this time the announcement will be in ESPN magazine.
Frankly, I think this is a cap space issue, probably for the Cavaliers. That's my guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know for a fact, and there have been rumors that in fact there's actually something more here to play, and that some of it might have to do, excuse me, with in fact trying to secure Love, as been requested, apparently been requested, or at least insinuated by the owner.
Well, how cavalier of him to take a lower pay to get.
Well, okay, now don't bust his chops too badly for that because he did that in Miami as well. But all right, let's
versus his compatriot there in Cleveland.
Oh, Manziel.
Oh, show me the money, Manziel, Johnny Football.
Yeah, Johnny.
Well, he's
Johnny Basketball.
He's not getting a max deal yet, so, and we'll see if he ever does. But all right, let's jump over real quick to our second big story. Excuse me, and I started out
you're so choked up.
I started out by saying, my goodness, there's no sports to talk about this week. How about that World Cup, huh? How about that? Game between,
you said you were excited.
the game between Germany and Argentina. You called it here, I think, almost from week 1, 4 weeks ago, when I was putting your feet to the fire, because I had, I had nil knowledge. Ooh, like my use there.
Yeah.
Of World Cup, and I put your feet to the fire, and I said, well, okay, who do you think? And I believe you immediately said, well, I think Germany's got to be the favorite. Germany-Argentina played on Sunday. Yep. And talking about nil, going into extra time, nil. Germany won it on positively what I think had to be, and not that I watched every single match. I didn't. I'm going to be perfectly blunt. But absolutely positively one of the most beautiful, incredible goals I think I saw in all of the 4 weeks worth of matches that went on. And by a substitute, Mario, is it Getz?
Yes.
Getz, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got to be honest with you. First of all, when I saw it, it was just breathtaking. The goal itself was just breathtaking. But even with that, and I guess I kind of was rooting for Germany a little bit. I wanted to see a European team win it this year because, you get a little tired of the South American countries winning it all the time. But regardless of how it would have turned out, I wanted to see a good match. And I was glad that it ended this way because for the longest time I was concerned it was going to go to the penalty shot shootout thing.
Right.
And I don't know about you, and you're more of a soccer follower, football follower than I am. I didn't think that the World Cup final championship game should be ending that way in penalty kicks. I don't know what you're thinking on that. I mean, obviously, you're thrilled that it went this way, obviously. But,
right.
I mean, you had to be concerned at one point that it was going to be going to penalty kicks, I would think.
Yes, because I was worried the whole time because, during all the knockout rounds, Argentina had not allowed a goal. I mean, the last goal they allowed was against Nigeria in the group play.
Right.
So I was very concerned going into this game, and when it went to regulation 0-0 or 0-0. I was I was biting my nails.
Right.
And then we get into extra time, and then the best soccer player in the world gets a free kick. And I'm like, oh, this is it. Argentina's going to win. It's over.
Situation doesn't look good, sweetheart.
And he shanked it.
Everybody talks about that free kick that he had, but he really had a better shot at a goal a little bit earlier in the extra time.
Oh, yeah.
When he came straight down and had a clear, and it just went over the top of the net. I mean, it landed on top of the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So Messi, you're talking about Messi, actually had a better shot earlier, and everybody goes back and talks about the one that you're mentioning, but well, it was an exciting final. As weird as that sounds coming from me, I did get into, I gotta be honest, I would not necessarily say that this year's World Cup made me a soccer fan. I wouldn't say that. I think, like a lot of Americans, and I mentioned it, and I made it, I alluded to it, I guess, last week or the week before. I think for Americans, it's momentary. We get caught up in a moment. Mm-hmm. And, we're excited about it. And once it leaves our mindset and it's not in front of us, we suddenly sit there and go, oh, well, okay. Well, I'll wait until the Summer Olympics come around again, right. 2 years from now, and then I'll get back
or
into
the
it
Women's
again.
World Cup.
Well, the Women's will be next year, right. And so I wouldn't necessarily, but I will say that I thought that this particular year's World Cup was entertaining, exciting, and there was some anxiety to it at different times. And the other thing I want to say is this. I want to give a big shout out, really, to the coordinators and the folks in Brazil that really put this one together, because leading up to this World Cup, there was a lot of chat, speculation, talk again, a lot of concern expressed in op-ed pieces, etc., about security and about safety. And you know something? There wasn't one, as far as we know, there wasn't one single incident of any import that ever got reported whatsoever. Everybody came home safely. Everything went from what we could tell, without a snag. All of the matches went right off on time. I mean, that's amazing. The timing of them, bam, bam, bam. They got those things right down, and none of them were delayed. Tip of my hat to the folks that coordinated this. Nice job, and all of that negativity talk going into it, all without any kind of merit whatsoever. So,
well, the one nice thing about the World Cup versus, say, MLS, I was a season ticket holder for the Union, and you go to 16 matches or whatever, over a season, and that and it's every weekend, and it towards the end of the season sometimes it can drag on, especially if your team's not doing well. But the idea of basically 4 weeks every 4 years, you get the national pride going. For whatever reason, you have folks that are tied to heritage. Like Germany. I know people of Greek descent that were rooting for the Greeks. And different things. It's 4 weeks. Everybody kind of gets wrapped up in it, and you watch it, and then it goes away. And hopefully some fans come back with a better appreciation of soccer. And that's what basically three World Cups ago is when I got into the World Cup.
Well, I think that's when that's the timetable when they say everybody did.
Right.
A lot, or that's when the timetable was that they were trying to launch it really in America. Do you have any? I'm springing this one on you, so if you come back and say, hey, I'm not really sure. With the women next year, any idea where's the venue on that? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, is it Canada?
Oh, it's in Canada. Okay. Summer Olympics 2016. You know where that's held? How about Rio? Yeah, it'll be in Rio in Brazil. Oh. Yeah, Summer Olympics. All right. Before we jump off of soccer, how about we go out and take a look at we're going to move it up the schedule a little bit, our Frat House Sports Facebook post of the week, which was a video that I posted up on Sunday, just prior to the final World Cup match we've been talking about. This one displaying a North Korean newscaster, reporting to the viewers in North Korea that they would be playing in the World Cup final against Brazil.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
I wonder who won.
Yeah, I'd love to know. Yeah, we haven't gotten an update. I wonder how that was reported. I wonder what video they used, too. Now, of course, the worst part of it was that North Korea never even qualified, so they were never even in the World Cup, even from the very beginning. I'm speechless, absolutely speechless. But that particular post, as one might suspect, got the most views, most activity, most comment. Probably got a few shares, I'm sure. And that's the kind of thing you get over on our Frat House Sports Facebook page. We cover sports real and fake. So get over there, Frat House Sports on Facebook, and give us a like. Okay. All right, let's move it on. We're going to get into, we're going to do a little bit of an expanded race report. We'll call it a race report this week, because we're going to open with the cars, but we're going to close with the bicycles.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Unusual.
Make my day.
Race summary, but not unusual is that it's brought to us by our friends down at Herb FM Sports Radio in Baltimore, Maryland. All right, get over there and give them a like, and check their programming out at herbfm.com. Herbfm.com. 3 hours again this past Tuesday evening. Marathon shows, repeating of many of our best Frat House Sports shows. This one, I'm sure, will be highlighted next Tuesday over there. herbfm.com. Get over and check them out. And also, if you're not sure what time, always check our Facebook page, because that's where you'll find out. Frat House Sports. Yeah. Another reason to give us a like. Race 19 we had this past week of the season. NASCAR up in New Hampshire. 301 laps, 7 cautions, 18 lead changes, average speeds of 108.7 miles per hour. That is for Well, that was for everybody except, I guess, defending champion Jimmy Johnson, who for the second week in a row went out early. Lap 11 for Johnson. Lost a tire and visited the wall. And that ended his day.
Doing his best, Danica.
But you're going to see in a moment, it's really not affecting the standings too much because he's got those 3 wins. But the other controversy, I suppose, came in lap 211 when Joey Logano's number 22 got caught up with the number 33 of 72-year-old Morgan Shepherd, who was running in his first race. I believe that was his first race of the season. Is that correct? I believe it was. Okay.
First cup race.
Okay, cup race.
What is that?
Okay.
It's a major award.
And at the time of the entanglement between the two, well, I think that Shepherd was at least 12 laps down. That ended Logano's day, who at one point had actually led the race for quite a few laps. And Logano ended up in 40th place in the race. So how did it finish up on Sunday? Well, Brad Keselowski got his third, became the second of the 3-time winners of
Your
the season.
favorite driver.
Yeah, right. Jumping in there with Jimmy Johnson. So those two have 3 wins. Kyle Busch came in second from the pole. He had the number 1 spot starting out. Kyle Larson, our rookie, came in third. Matt Kenseth got a 4th. Ryan Newman, coming from the 24th spot, got the 5th spot in that. And when we take a look real quick at the leaderboard, you'll see where things are standing up at this point. Okay, there's Keselowski up at the top. And then, of course, now we're running by wins. So that's what's determining this. And then we go points there after the fact. So that's how it's looking right now. Now, no race this week, as Sidekick pointed out at the top of the show.
Spoiled it.
NASCAR gets a rare weekend off. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold off on our fantasy chat. We'll hold off on that, and any league summaries, we'll hold off on that until next week's show.
Show who's back.
We'll have time to gloat about that next week, because guess what? There probably still won't be any sports next week. So we'll have to fill some time. So I'll give you plenty of time to gloat. I thought, though, before we jump off of auto racing, we get into a little bit of a quick, brief conversation. I sent both of you gentlemen over an article I thought that was rather interesting. Not that it was all that enlightening, because I think many of us could probably figure it out. Obviously, under the new chase scheme, and we've been talking about this all season long, wins count first, followed by points. There are 3 drivers right now. One would have thought and would have expected to have had a win by now, and would have been probably sitting somewhat more comfortably. And they are Tony Stewart, Kasey Kahne, Greg Biffle are all right now without any wins whatsoever. But to make matters worse for those guys, their current point totals have them on the outside of the first 16, because that's what the cutoff will be. 16 drivers has them below that line looking in. Biffle right now currently in 18th, Kahne in 19th, and Stewart is in 21st. Now, with just 7 races remaining in the season, it's hard to believe. I mean, we're only in mid-July, but that's it. That's all we're talking, just 7 races remaining. I don't know. You got 3 drivers, all needing at least 1 win. Odds would indicate to me at least 1, maybe 2 of them don't make the chase. What's your thinking, Sidekick?
Well, I'm not all that surprised that the 3 of them do not have wins yet.
Greg Biffle a couple of seasons ago, that's all we talked about.
Yeah, but I've never.
Do you think that season was an anomaly?
Yeah,
you thought that season was an anomaly.
Yeah, we talked ad nauseum about how we always, we put him on our roster, and he always, is horrible.
Right.
And then he runs well when he's not on your roster. Tony Stewart is always a late bloomer. Now we got the track starting to heat up. I think probably of the 3, I think Tony's got the best chance of securing a win over the next 7 races. I'm a little bit surprised that the 3 of them are not in the chase. Not necessarily that they're winless, but that they're not in the chase. So, and if you look at the 16 right now, you have 11 people with wins. You've got 5 that are in on points alone.
Right.
So over the next 7 races, you know, or how many of those 7 are going to be repeat winners?
Right. Right.
You know, versus.
Right. Exactly. Well, right, and I'm you know, that's why I'm bringing it up. That you know, if I were an odds maker, I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, as the number of races diminishes, obviously the odds now are getting less and less and less that we're going to get one of these guys into the mix based upon the current criteria. I don't even think these three aren't even going to make it into under the old format. Uncle Mark, jump in on these 3 guys right now. What's your thinking? I mean, do any of them make it? Do 2 of them make it? I don't know.
Well, I just find it interesting that Hendrick Motorsports has 3 drivers in the top 5 in points, and they are all winners. And that 4th guy is Kasey Kahne. Now, what is going on? They share information, they share garages, they share strategy. What in the world is going on with Kasey Kahne this year? I'll be honest with you. Right now, the way it's going, I'm writing him off. Tony Stewart, he's another one. I'm just scratching my head. He's got 2 top 5, 6 top 10 in 19 races. He's got a DNF in there. 500 points. Yeah, late bloomer. It might be almost too late right now. It's not really looking good for Stewart if he can't put together a win. Because a win and you're in. That's where it is.
Right.
Big enigma has to be Kurt Busch. Because despite the fact he's got that win, he's only got 4 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and he leads the field with 5 DNFs. But he's in there. Why? Because he was able to win.
Right.
Stewart's been close a couple times, but he hasn't found it yet. The other side of the coin, and I just have to throw it out there, because they're tied right now in terms of points. Rookies of the year, Larson and Dillon, 524 points. They're running 14 and 15 respectively. They're not far out of the points lead when you consider they're rookies. They're just 146 points behind right now. 4 top 5s, 8 top 10s for Larson, 1 and 2 respectively for Dillon. I'll tell you what, these kids are for real. And I'm not going to miss Biffle if one or both of these guys make it.
I agree with you. Larson right now has the 16th spot.
Yeah, Larson's in right now.
Right.
Yeah, Larson's in, even though they're tied. Yeah,
right.
Even though they're tied in points, Larson's in. Yeah, and you know, and Dillon.
Rookie points, right? Or is
no, they're tied on the leaderboard.
Points,
yeah, they're both tied with 524 points.
Now, Uncle Mark, you bring up
the top 5s is the tiebreaker, right? The finishes. Because Larson's got to have. Larson's finished way better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Consistently up front than Dillon. Dillon may have, you know, a longer streak of non-DNFs.
Yeah.
Well, Larson moved up 3 points just this last weekend with his second place victory, and Dillon dropped a couple points. But those guys are neck and neck. And to me, that's the future of the sport right there. I mean, you're looking at it. These guys are up rubbing elbows with guys that their ages together, they're racing against guys. I mean, it's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, too, you bring up Hendrick and you say, you know, Kasey Kahne, there's a question mark, you know, with everything going on with Hendrick Motorsports. But then you've got to ask the same question with the Stewart Haas group. Because you got Kevin Harvick in there running way up at the top. And Uncle Mark, you bring up Kurt Busch, who got lucky with the win. Well, no, I wouldn't say he got lucky, but he's getting lucky right now, being on the list because of that win. Of the 4 drivers, you got the boss sitting there. You know, he's without anything. You got to wonder.
But Tony was close a couple times this year and got screwed because of, you know, speeding penalties on pit road at the end. You know, at the end of the race, an inopportune speeding penalty, and he shuffles back. You know,
right.
So you know, he's kind of shot himself in the foot a couple times this season.
Right.
So you know.
And listen, I'm not going to say Matt Kenseth kind of sits in the same place as Kasey Kahne, because clearly he does not. He's 4th in points. He's got a very comfortable position to just get in on points alone. But there's a guy right there. That's kind of a surprise to me. 7 top 5s, 12 top 10s in 19 races. So Kenseth can win. He just hasn't yet.
Well,
so it's a matter of time.
Was the sweetheart last
and I think
year.
when you see
Greg
Kenseth
Biffle
win, I think you'll see him win again.
Yeah,
In other words, I
Kansas
think
was
when
our
he gets
great
one,
last year.
that'll become 2.
And, when we talk about not having wins, okay, Biffle's only 3 points behind Kyle Larson and Austin Dillon.
Right.
Over the next 7 races,
right,
he needs to pick up 3 points on these kids. Actually, well, probably 4 points. Well, 4 points on these kids.
But Larson's been the more aggressive driver.
Right. Kane's only 9 points out. And then Tony Stewart's 22 points out.
22, right.
And for those keeping track at home, Danica's only 64 points out.
Oh, no.
That's why we didn't talk about
What do you mean
Tom
I'm not an
Jones.
expert?
So we're looking to get all the Stewart Haas racers in.
I was going to say, I noticed you were talking about Stewart Haas and nobody brought Danica up till now.
Yeah,
they had some fun with her last night on the ESPYs, as they usually do. Mercifully, she was sitting there with Ricky, so she didn't have a real bad face on like she did last year. But, all right. Well, there's our, we're going to be following it. I mean, this is going to get interesting. I like the new format for the chase. I think it's going to make things very, very compelling as you go closer and closer and closer to the end. And, well, like I said, no race this week. Next week at this time, we'll be sitting here talking to you about the Brickyard because we're heading to Indianapolis next weekend. So,
and keep an eye out for Tony.
Going to get, yes, that's good. You're
keep an eye out
right.
for Tony.
Right there.
So we could see Tony get locked in.
I think this is going to get really, really interesting over the next couple of weeks. All right, let's stick with racing for a moment. Just a couple of minutes, anyhow. All right. Well, not quite. Not quite.
Crank your bicycle.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to shift
your
it.
rickshaw.
Yeah. We're going to shift it from motorized racing to bicycles. And for that, let's bring in our expert on everything European. Yeah.
European, I'm a peon.
Oh, good. For an update on the Tour de France, our anti-American sports hero sidekick.
Yes, keeping all of our European fans.
Before you really get into the nuts and bolts of this, flip the picture ahead, real. What is with the baby blues this year? Is this the New Jersey that, and I don't mean New Jersey, I mean New Jersey that you insinuated that we were going to have to look at this year? Didn't you say a couple of weeks ago there's a New Jersey that...
yes.
No longer the yellow shirt or whatever.
No.
They have the yellow shirt.
They added an additional jersey.
Is that the baby blues that I'm seeing here? Oh, okay.
That's team colors there.
Oh.
That's team jerseys.
Well, they're all in... Okay, well,
That's
whatever.
a big team.
They're all together.
Yeah, and that's kind of the the thing with the Tour de France is yes, there's some individualism to it, but it's also a team sport.
Okay.
And the team supports. You have your LeBron James on your your superstar on your team, and then you build a team around them.
Okay.
And the team helps push the star to the lead.
Well, I mean, every year I keep hoping I'm going to get a little more knowledgeable about this, but I thought maybe the baby blues were the new.
No,
color.
this is the Astana team pro team.
Okay.
Out of they're essentially the Kazakhstan national team.
Well,
Astana is the capital.
They're all the way. That's a pretty big team. My goodness.
Yeah. Gotta have plenty of sport folks.
Okay.
And it's fitting that you have this picture because right now we've got 12 stages complete. 13 tomorrow. We have one more. We have one more break. 21 stages. We have one more break, one more rest day coming up before we get to Paris.
Right.
So right now, with 12 stages complete, our overall leader is Vincenzo Nibali, who rides for Astana Pro Team.
Okay.
All right. He's got the yellow jersey, which is for time the overall winner or overall leader.
That I do. Remember
and then he's got 2 stage victories.
Okay.
Then we have the green jersey, all these jerseys. We have the green jersey, who's worn by Peter Sagan right now of Cannondale. The green jersey is the points leader.
That's the team name.
Okay, yeah, Cannondale is the team. We don't talk national.
Where's
Unlike World Cup, unlike World Cup, where we talk
Yeah, I got
countries.
We're talking teams.
We talk teams, and there
Okay.
are some national teams and such.
Aren't there some countries that have multiple? Like, isn't there 2 U.S. teams, or used to be?
Well, like there's the postal team,
Right, and
the
then
U.S.
there's
Postal, and then you've got companies or sponsors that have teams, and then you have national teams, like Astana and stuff. So it's a mix, but you have all these teams. Anyway, the points leader is kind of like in NASCAR, where for the high finishes you get points, and for winning the intermediate sprints, there's a couple stages where they're sprint stages. So just anyway, so Peter Sagan is the overall points leader, and Nibali is 8th in points, even though he's the overall time leader.
Are you following all this over here? Okay,
then you've got the polka dot jersey.
Okay.
What do you mean I'm not an expert?
I know you like the polka dot.
Whoa.
This is basically the king of the mountain.
I could say something, I'm not going to.
It's really a polka dot jersey?
Yes, and it's the mountain. It's the king of the mountain, or the person with the most climber points.
How come I didn't find
in
out?
the mountain stages?
I have to look for that for next week.
That's Joaquim Rodriguez of Team Katusha.
Okay.
Then we've got our rookie jersey, or the youth jersey.
Did I mention we really need football right about now?
The youth jersey, the current leader is Romain Bardet of ALM, who Team ALM is also the team points leader. Team
Okay.
ALM. It's actually AG2R Le Mondial.
Sure.
And then the new jersey you were referring to is Hackensack.
What?
Now, this year they've added the combative jersey.
I like that. Well, that's completely contrary to the polka dot jersey.
Yes. Simon Clark of Orica Green Edge is the combative jersey points leader right now. The combative jersey is basically for the aggressive. You always hear about the peloton and the breakaway
Knock
group.
that guy over.
The guy who scores the most points on
Put
breakaways.
him into the wall.
Yeah. Right, yeah. The breakaway. He's basically
Now that's
the
my
breakaway
kind of
guy.
racing.
And then so far through the stages, real quick, some big name withdrawals that we've had. Cavendish went out on stage 2 after 2 crashes on the first day. Schleck went out on stage 4. Froome went out on stage 5. Cancellara went out on stage 11. And just today, Dela Cruz went out with a broken collarbone he suffered in probably the worst crash so far of the tour.
Was that from the combative guy?
No.
Oh.
Typically the crashes...
He didn't do his job.
Typically the crashes, especially in the early stages, were actually fans trying to get pictures and stepping out into the way, and then they cause these big
So
wrecks.
we give the fans the combative jersey.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, they're not supposed to do that, but they get a little overzealous and want to interject themselves, and...
Yeah. Well, it's very exciting. I could see them losing their mind over it.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, look, 21 stages. Are you kidding me? I'd have to be there for every one of them. Yeah.
Sure.
Listen, we want to thank Herb FM Sportsman.
Who does that? Who has time?
For bringing our race report this week.
And supporting Sidekicks
We
European
appreciate you bringing us this Tour de France. It was wonderful.
I goofed.
Actually, get over and check out our FM Sports Radio, will you? On the internet, www.
As a matter of fact, right behind you is apparently
There you
one of
go.
the wrecks.
It's good.
Is the wreck, yeah, because
Is
there's
combative guy up there? Can I see combative guy? Because
Once in a while at the bottom, they are showing all these jerseys.
There you
The
go.
polka dot one looks a lot like a red
polka
white
dot.
checkered
Yeah.
picnic table.
See, you're going to get more Americans in it and involved in this if you make it more combative.
Absolutely.
We've talked for weeks now about how you can make soccer more intriguing to Americans.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. Make cycling like roller derby.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I need a drink.
Technical director Brandon watches the guy fall on his collarbone and winces. Know what that kind of feels like, huh?
Yeah.
And that was
a bit.
And you were on a powdered. You were on a powdered
blue.
On a powdered donut. No.
Only two-wheel racing to have a motor, not pedal.
Let me turn the table here on our anti-American sports chat and move it over to an American one. How about some baseball? Not much baseball chat this week, as I pointed out, All-Star break. And yeah, it was abnormally long. It was 4 days. It's been 3 in the past. I don't know what, I guess that's going to be the standard from now on. But look, here's the bottom line. 60% of the season is now in the books. And while we didn't have a heck of a lot of baseball, well, that doesn't mean we still don't have a baseball report. And as usual, yeah, well, that's being brought to you by CLW.
It's time again for Frat House Mike's Screwball Stories.
Yes, and I think you're going to see a pattern developing with some of my stories here in a moment. Some of these screwy stories.
Like a polka dot pattern, possibly?
No, it wouldn't be polka dot. It wouldn't be polka dot. Well, maybe, well, I don't know. We'll see.
You may see polka dots after the first story.
This first one actually might end up on the wish list of somebody right here on our staff, I think. That's very possible. Fans visiting the All-Star venues in Milwaukee this week could collect up all sorts of collectibles and memorabilia. They make it a week-long sort of thing. We'll talk. In fact, I bring it up again later on in one of these stories. One of the things, though, that they could have gotten this week in Milwaukee included the first ever officially licensed MLB All-Star Midsummer Classic wine. Not beer, wine. Yeah, we're trying to bring a little class
Like I took the wrong week to quit drinking.
Baseball. Apparently, believe it or not, there are other team-themed
Well, I don't know about you guys,
well,
but I need a drink.
including the Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, San Francisco Giants, and the Philadelphia Phillies collection. All of the bottles right now, since the All-Star game is over, and you can't go to Milwaukee and necessarily find a venue to pick them up at, you still can get them nonetheless. They retail for $30 each, and can only be purchased now from the MLB.com website. And there is minimum order of 3 each. You've got to order at least 3. I heard that the Chicago Cubs collection, very aged. That's what I heard.
I heard A-Rod has his own collection.
Oh,
wait. You mean drinking wine, not whining.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I got you.
Oh, yeah,
My
not
bad.
WH. Okay. WH.
Don't make me come up there.
Well, as I pointed out, every year Major League Baseball holds a week-long fan interactive exhibit in the host city for the All-Star Game called Fan Fest. I attended when the All-Star Game was here in Philadelphia in 1996. It was actually quite fun then. I can only imagine it's gotten so much better. Numerous events, exhibits, memorabilia are all on display in different areas all around the city. All representing different stages of the history of the game.
Do they still have the pin the needle on the doper?
No, this is Milwaukee.
This way.
No, that's
Good, sweetheart.
Yeah.
That's right. We could have done it here. Yeah, we're good. We could. Yeah, I don't know if they had that one here or not.
Because they had the year it was in Philly, they had the McGuire and they had
96.
the whole group of them.
Yes.
And you put the blindfold on.
Well, people were mistakenly putting it on Piazza.
That monkey's might fly out of my butt.
How do you follow that one up?
One of the events that took place during Fan Fest this past week in Milwaukee was a memorabilia auction, which saw the highest priced item that went during the auction was a 1935 autographed Lou Gehrig glove, outfielder's glove. I guess he played first base, I think it was the first baseman's glove, put up by Howard Brost Henderson, who was given the glove by Gehrig in 1935, and he held on to it for all these years.
Wow.
We're sitting on top of the story of the century.
Not quite. The glove sold for, are you ready, $287,500. You know, that's not a bad piece of memorabilia, I would say, to hold on to for, what are we talking, 65, 75, 80 years? Not a bad
Still alive?
He was, yes, when he turned it in, No, he's alive, yeah. Listen, some of the other items, just real quick, that went at the auction included a Roy Campanella's Hall of Fame ring for $86,200 plus, Jackie Robinson bat for $80,500, and a Harmon Killebrew Washington Senators jersey for $40,000 plus.
I need dough and plenty of it.
I thought the Jackie Robinson bat would go for more than the Roy Campanella, but
can't account for taste.
Hey, well, between Frat House,
Nobody's perfect.
You guys got a lot of memorabilia. Maybe we got to have.
I don't know if I've got anything worth 230. Well, anyhow, if I did, then I might want to go for our third story. How about this one? If some of that memorabilia was just a bit too pricey for you, I think I've got just exactly what you need right here, okay? And look, here's the best part of it. You can count it as memorabilia toward the future. It's really not memorabilia yet, but it could be in the future. Apparently, it was advertised the other day that a fan was selling their Yankee Stadium luxury suite for Derek Jeter's final home game on September 25th versus the Baltimore Orioles.
Not everything ends the way you think it should.
The listing was over on StubHub with a listed price of $244,000. See, so if we've got something that could bring in $287,000, I could then go get the Yankee Stadium luxury box and still have $35,000 left over. From what I understand,
that monkey's might fly out of my butt.
This luxury box, from what I understand, the luxury suite, it comes with a complimentary light beer, hot dog, and nachos with the cheese.
So how much to upgrade to a regular?
Let's go have a ham sandwich.
No ham sandwiches. You got to pay for those. Let's go take a quick look at the AL and NL standings.
I'm going to be interested to see if that.
StubHub.
No, I'm going to be interested to see if that sells.
Really? Some more.
I think you just became my personal hero.
The price will probably come down as it goes closer and closer to September 25th. Somebody's going to buy that. Yeah, well, we've got about a little bit more than 60 games left to the Major League Baseball season. Hey, how about this?
Real quick, if you're the idiot that buys that suite, can you let us know?
We'd like to have you on the air.
I'll be whatever you want me to
Maybe we could do it live right from the luxury suite. Anybody listening out there? The O's expanded their lead a bit.
Shut up and start talking.
A few games that they played. Because remember, we were all done with baseball by Sunday, but they did expand their lead just a bit. 4 games now in front of the Toronto Blue Jays. Same with the Detroit Tigers, 6.5 games now in front of the Royals. Come on, Royals. A's right now still the best team in baseball, but just by a tad. How about that? Game and a half in front of the Angels. Over in the National League, the Washington Nationals, technically right now tied with the Braves for first, but they're just a fraction of a percentage point better in the win percentage.
Are you trying to give me the double talk?
The Brewers right now just a game in front of the Cardinals. Watch your Cardinals coming up there.
Yeah, I'm watching
still
them.
Got plenty of time.
They're stinking up the joint.
And the Dodgers are just a game in front of the Giants as well right now. Now the Dodgers are. What was it, your boy Wainwright throwing up lollipops to Derek Jeter the other night, huh? You see all that controversy? Huh?
Yeah.
Just giving him lollipops, huh?
Well, and then your guy, Yachty.
My guy. Oh, I thought you were talking about Utley. Utley got a double.
No, I'm talking about your favorite fantasy baseball player.
Yes, he is actually.
Yachty's out for a little while.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna hurt you. No, I'm not playing fantasy this year. All right, there's our baseball report for this week. We'll probably have a lot more to talk about baseball-wise next week, as we're going to get a full week starting tomorrow evening. And our baseball report brought to you by CLW83.com. CLW83.com. All right, there you go. How about our website? Yeah, check it out. I got to do some work on it. We're going to be getting things up. We got a few things happening around the frat house recently that are kind of distracting us, so we'll get that thing up and running and a little more up to date.
Shut up and start talking.
I start writing is what I got to do. But FratHouseSports.net, get over there and check that out. All of our videos are over there, along with all of our previous writings. And we'll be coming right back at you here. We're going to come a day early next week. Yeah, we're going to be coming at you on, we're going to shoot Wednesday and come to you on Thursday. So you'll get the benefit of us a day earlier. Won't that be nice?
Yep. Maybe there'll be more sports to talk about.
We can only hope so. Because we were barely able to fill an hour here tonight.
Oh, you still got 5 minutes to go if you want to get an hour.
That's all right. We'll cut everybody a break. We'll cut everybody. Thank you very much. We'll cut everybody a break tonight. Chris down at Home FM will probably appreciate it that we stay within an hour.
I was going to say, why don't you give a glimpse into what we've got coming up in the next couple weeks? We've got a couple special episodes coming up.
Yeah, we do. We got our regular show on Wednesday, and then the week thereafter we've got thanks very much. Yeah, we're gonna. You just want to push this to an hour, and then the week thereafter we got our annual NFL preseason roundtable program coming to you. So that'll be 2 weeks from now.
And that's a big deal.
The NFL.
Yeah, that means,
it means we're going to be talking sports. We're going to be talking sports
coming.
instead of bicycling, for God's sake.
Football's coming. Fantasy football's coming.
Yeah.
Fantasy draft.
Real stuff. Combative stuff. Not like these stupid jerseys with polka dots on them. Huh? What's that? Keep us real. Keep us live. Keep us going. Guess what? We'll see you a day earlier. Wednesday next week. See you then. This will be our FIFA report. This will be it. Because there's no reason to bring in a special FIFA. On top of which, we got European sports covered with the Tour de France. Yeah.
Which is going to be on behind him at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Won't that be special? But, wow. I watched this. Well, at least I watched it from about midpoint. What a goal that was. Terrific. Wow.
Dude.
I couldn't believe this goal. What a goal.
Look at the fingernails on his hand.
Take a look at the next one. There's one more. So there are 3 for FIFA. This is from behind the net of the goal. He's down on the ground, and this one's watching. Oh my God! It was an incredible goal. Wow. It really. I know. Okay.
Telling you, literally, look. All the nails on that hand are gone.
All because
from
of
that game.
Frickin' soccer. That's a disgrace. That's a violation. Biting your nails over freaking soccer. Come on.
And then they gave Messi that free shot, and I'm like,